Give me a quilt made of cotton and silk, where the stitches run as deep as the clay, where flowers and birds dance just like words on a map of the old USA, where velvet is free to every quilting bee, and wool grows like grapes on the vine, where it's everyone's right to quilt through the night while the flying geese dance in the sky. And how often then, with our neighbors and friends, will we build something much bigger than I? And although it's just cloth, it's priceless in cost when we give one another our time. On my grandma's patchwork quilt, squares of corduroy and silk, red and green and blue and yellow too, on my grandma's patchwork quilt. It was a patchwork quilt so fine, it was an art, her design. A piece of sister's dress next to grandpa's vest on my grandma's patchwork quilt. I got a pillow for my head and it wants to be my friend, but nothing keeps me warm in a thunderstorm like my grandma's patchwork quilt. On my grandma's patchwork quilt, squares of corduroy and silk, red and green and blue and yellow too, on my grandma's patchwork quilt. Around the world the people wait for a day when there's no hate, and we treat each one like my grandma done with her crazy patchwork quilt. Now my grandma's gonna rest, and her quilt is all that's left. But her love, I swear, is in every square of that crazy patchwork quilt. On my grandma's patchwork quilt, squares of corduroy and silk, red and green and blue and yellow too, on my grandma's patchwork quilt. Banjos and quilts, they're one and the same. If you don't agree, let me explain. Banjos and quilts, they both keep us warm. One when we dance and one when we're born. Banjos and quilts, both timeless and rare, passed on with age and tendered with care. Banjos and quilts, both made by hand, of simpler times, surely they stand. Banjos and quilts both hang on the wall. One beckons strumming, and the other hearkens fall.
takes a steady hand and a spool of thread, a strand of blue, a patch of red, and all the shades that lie in between. Wait for inspiration to unfold, turn that idea into gold. There begins a pattern or a scene. In a quilter's world it all takes time. Stitch and sew, adjust the line. Solitude and quiet, her companions. And that sewing room is a sacred place where work and art come face to face. Traditions passed on from long ago. You can hang a quilt upon a wall, on a bed, and that's not all. As a banner, it can rally to the cause. It may symbolize a part of you, show the world your point of view, woven in the fabric and the flaws. In a quilter's world, it all takes time. Stitch and sew, adjust the line. Patience and care are her companions. And that sewing room is a sacred place. It's her domain and state of grace. Traditions passed on from long ago. And that sewing room is a sacred place. It's her domain and state of grace. Traditions passed on from long ago.
Oh, hand me down my needle and thread. These hands were made for quilting. I got crazy patterns in my head. These hands were made for quilting. This string of cloth just makes me sing. These hands were made for quilting. Leftover scraps are a precious thing. These hands are made for quilting. I got a flat top thimble and a pin cushion too. These hands are made for quilting. A hand that's steady and a heart that's true. These hands are made for quilting. Way back in 1933, these hands are made for quilting. Squares and strips was all you'd see. These hands are made for quilting. Oh, 25 yards of a muslin cloth. These hands are made for quilting. Cost so much more than I've got. These hands are made for quilting. Oh, tell your friends to think of me. These hands are made for quilting. Before they toss those old blue jeans. These hands were made for quilting. This old quilt is so much more than scraps of time. It's a piece of love, a stitch of heart, and patience oh so fine. Promise we might finish whatever we do start. One day we'll rise again in the winter, keep you warm. Oh yeah. crazy quilt, this life we weave goes by way too fast. Spare time ain't what it was like before Grandma passed. When I die, don't look for me down in that cold, cold ground. You wanna tell my story, boys? Oh, just pass my quilts on down. Takes imagination, romance and pain. Stitch them all together, Lord, you give that quilt a name. You take some joy and sorrow, history and strife. Thread them all together, Lord, you give that quilt a life. Oh yeah, it's a living thing. It's a crazy quilt, this life we weave goes by way too fast. Spare time ain't what it was like before Grandma passed. When I die, don't look for me down in that cold, cold ground. You wanna tell my story, boys? Oh, pass my quilts on down. Yeah, pass them on down. It's a crazy quilt, this life we weave goes by way too fast. Spare time ain't what it was like before Grandma passed. When I die, don't look for me down in that cold, cold ground. You wanna tell my story, boys? I'll pass my quilts on down.
A is for Amish and applique seams. B is for batting you basting between. C is for cutting mat, cotton and chintz. D is the drunkard's path and dandy prints. E is embroidery and English piecing. F is for fabric and flying geesing. G is the guild where all the gals go. H is for hexagon gardens that grow. So merry, so merry, so merry are we. No mortals match quilters when we're on a spree. I is my iron and those who I spy. J is dear Jane and those jars full of flies. K for the kindness from quilters afar. L is log cabin and the Lone Star. M's my machine, many years of make-do. N is for needles and 9-patch squares too. O is for overall Bill and his friend. P is for patchwork, my passion to spend. So merry, so merry, so merry are we. No mortals match quilters when we're on a spree. Q is for fat quarters and quilting bees. My rotary cutters are riches to me. S is for scissors and swaps round the globe. T is for thimbles and trapunto. And where would you be without UFOs? V is for velvet, so crazy quilts glow. W is Waga's warm in the rough. And X, extra fabric, you can't have enough. So merry, so merry, so merry are we. No mortals match quilters when we're on a spree. Y is for yo-yos and yellow yard goods. Z is for zigzag, the zeal of quilthood. I've run out of letters, but not out of things. No mention of templates or twin wedding rings. No calico, diamonds, or sunbonnet Sue. No quarter-inch foot, but what can I do? So little time, so many quilts yet. There's no more time for the quilter's alphabet. So are we. No mortals match quilters when we're on a spree. Leave the dishes till later, the laundry undone. Give a quilter a needle and nothing goes wrong. If you ever took a photo of a bathroom floor, you just might be a quilter. You take your vacations near a fabric store, you just might be a quilter. When planning a house with your loving spouse, you can't explain the laundry chute beside the door. You got more fabric than food, but you still want more. You just might be a quilter. If every sewing shop in town knows your name, you just might be a quilter. Shopping's never canceled by a hurricane, you just might be a quilter. You're out in the car and there's a little crash. Don't call your husband first about the smash. You call your quilting friend to come and hide the stash. You just might be a quilter. And oh, you love movies, you can't wait for the bedroom scenes. And oh, you love your children, you can't wait for them to leave. Feet are not measurements and dogs not pets, you just might be a quilter. A featherweight isn't just a boxing stat, you just might be a quilter. Sashes aren't belts, ditches don't have mud. It isn't for the theater, you wear white gloves. You won't sell a quilt, but you'll do it for love. You just might be a quilter. Son, and although you love him, he's gotta go to shows to see it when it's done. You keep all your salvages and faded jeans, you just might be a quilter. You counted them all, you own 8 machines, you just might be a quilter. You save each scrap that cuts a 1-inch square, but you can't find that bolt you bought anywhere. And you tried to make batting out of Fluffy's hair. You just might be a quilter, yeah. You just might be a quilter. You just might be a quilter. The 12-step plan for quilters is what you need. The 12-step plan for quilters is what you need. Stay at home all filled with guilt, or stand up tall, say I am a quilter. 12-step plan for quilters is what you need. The first step is don't fight it, just give in. You know that if you fight it, you can't win. So buy your fabric with delight, dream your patterns day and night. 12-step plan for quilters is what you need. The second step is you can do no wrong. If the ruler's short and the stitches are too long, but every sewing heresy is an opportunity. 12-step plan for quilters is all you need. The Third step is you can't have too much stuff. You leave the shop and you never have enough. See these bags, don't pay no mind. Look at all I've left behind. 12-step plan for quilters is what you need. The fourth step is to do the best you can. It's such a waste if you don't give a damn. The best way to good workmanship, as you sow, so shall you rip. 12-step plan for quilters is what you need. No need to give you no more rules. Rules are made for breaking, so just be cool. If you don't like it cut apart, sew it wrong and call it art. 12-step plan for quilters is all you need. What's become of all your cash? Tell him, love me, love my stash. 12-step plan for quilters is what you need. And the 12-step plan for quilters is all you need.
Blue are the days that I've seen. Times they were tough and so lean. This old life, it seems like a dream. Blue are the days that I've seen. Brown like the leaves in the fall. Everything changes, I know. We start out green, so sweet and so clean. Brown like the leaves in the fall. These are the colors of my quilt, painted by things that I've felt. Golds and yellows and earth tones and mellow. These are the colors of my quilt. Little bit of silver and gold, just like the candle that glows. Change in my pocket, my sweet lover's locket. Little bit of silver and gold. And always there's black and white, just like the day follows night. Things we can't see sometimes set us free. Always there's black and white. These are the colors of my quilt, painted by things that I've felt. Golds and yellows and earth tones that mellow. These are the colors of my quilt. Gray like the clouds up above. Everyone needs a little love. Wait for the sun, sometimes don't come. Gray like the clouds up above. Red like the roses that bloom, my little woman's perfume. You be my bride, girl, I'll be your groom. Red like the roses that bloom. These are the colors of my quilt, painted by things that I've felt. Golds and yellows and earth tones that mellow. These are the colors of my quilt. can't sleep at night and you don't tie your shoes. Nothing in this world that you'd rather do. Where you quilting, you quilt the whole night through. You know by that you got them old time quilt pox blues. You best be careful of the germs you spread, boy. They cover your walls and they cover your bed. Are you quilting? You quilt the whole night through. Know by that you got them old time quilt pox blues. Your son tries to tell you about the day that he had. Even your husband feeling lonesome and sad, 'cause you quilting, you quilt the whole night through. Know by that you got them old time quilt pox blues. There ain't nothing wrong with the pattern now, honey, can't you see? It might make more sense if you got some sleep, 'cause you quilting, you quilt the whole night through. You know by that you got them old time quilt pox blues. Use it up, wear it out, make it do or do without, and pay for the things you want to buy. Wear your old faded jeans, they're patched but they are clean. Walk proud, my son, and hold your head up high. We live way back in the hills with the bears and the whippoorwills. Closest store, it was 35 miles away. Now I am a full-grown man. If I do my best I can hear those words my mama used to say. Use it up, wear it out, make it do or do without, and pay for the things you want to buy. Wear your old faded jeans, they're patched, they are clean. Walk proud, my son, and hold your head up high. Now I got a boy of my own, he's got his own telephone. Seems like we buy him something every day, and it makes me want to cry. I stop and wonder why. No, I never hear his mama say, use it up, wear it out, make it do or do without, and pay for the things you want to buy. Wear your old faded jeans, they're patched but they are clean. Walk proud, my son, and hold your head up high.
Before I was a quilt maker, my house was always clean. Before I was a quilt maker, my windows they did gleam. Not a thread on bed or carpet air to see, and my bathroom was pristine. What a dream! My bathroom, it was all pristine. Before I was a quilt maker, my children wore the best. Before I was a quilt maker, they always were well pressed. Their beds were made, their lunch prepared ahead. Now we're living in a mess, I confess. husband is a loving man, and he did marry me. My husband is a loving man, as fair as I do see. But no longer do I lie with him at night, for I'm stitching until 3, full of glee. I'm stitching every night till 3. One day I'll mend my evil ways, lay down my needles all. One day I'll mend my evil ways, turn my back on patchwork's call. When the patterns in my head have all been sewn, and my fabric is all gone, sewn and gone. When the fabric in my stash is gone. Little crazy quilt, I'm all alone. Please keep me warm till my loved one comes home. Little crazy quilt, so gay and bright, I'm dreaming of my love tonight. You've got patches of blue like the blue of his eyes, patches of brown like the brown of his hair, patches of gold like the moon in the skies, the moon that shone down when we learned to care. Little crazy quilt, soon he'll be home. After we're married, no more will he roam. When the wedding's through, we will take you to the house we built, and you'll keep us warm, little crazy quilt. Little crazy quilt, I'm all alone. Please keep me warm till my loved one comes home. Little crazy quilt, so gay and bright, I'm dreaming of my love tonight. You've got patches of blue like the blue of his eyes, patches of brown like the brown of his hair, patches of gold like the moon in the skies, the moon that shone down when we learned to care. Little crazy quilt, soon he'll be home. After we're married, no more will he roam. When the wedding's through, we will take you to the house we built, and you'll keep us warm, little crazy quilt. Did Grandma ever tell you about the patchwork quilt that lies across the sofa in her room? It is made from scraps of dresses that she wore when she was young, and some of them were woven on a loom. Sometimes when it is raining and I can't play out of doors, she lets me spread it out upon the floor. And as I choose the pieces I'd like to hear about, she tells me of the dresses that she wore. It isn't just the dresses that Grandma tells about, it's the things that happened when she had them on. And almost every piece that's in that dear old patchwork quilt holds the memory of a sorrow or a song. Oh, things were very wonderful when Grandmama was young. You ought to hear her tell about it all. The ladies all were beautiful, the children all were good, and the men were all so gallant and so tall. She calls the quilt her memory bed, and every little piece is a flower blooming in its scented fold. There are red ones for the roses, and blues for don't forgets, and yellow ones for sunflowers of gold. There's one she calls sweet lavender that smells like baby clothes, and one of purple like the sunset skies. I never ask about these, or the gray ones like the rain, for when I do, dear Grandma always cries. My grandma told me once that life is just a patchwork quilt of births and deaths and marriages and things. And sometimes when you're looking for a lovely piece of red, you only find a knot of faded strings. But she says the red is redder when it's by a piece of brown, and gray is not so gray by sunny gold. Oh, I hope I'll have a lovely patchwork quilt like Grandmama's to show to little children when I'm old. To show to little children when I'm old.
I wanted to share with you my beautiful quilt that I'm so proud of. I have it displayed on this quilt ladder. I had it put up for years. I just recently got it out and displayed it with a little greenery wreath. This quilt is very special to me. My dad's mother made this. She was from Hickory, Kentucky area. Her name was Catherine McAdoo, and she gave me this at my wedding shower and told me that she made this when she was 16 years old, and for a future grandchild that she of course did not even have any idea about at the time. And so let me give you some of the details of it. This is what they call a sunbonnet Sue pattern, so obviously very appropriate to give to a granddaughter. Very pretty. It does have lots of different color in the dresses, and then as you can see, she did a beautiful scallop edge with a cream and yellow alternating pattern. And then the inside is this very pretty pink coral. All hand stitched. And I am very proud of this quilt. I'm very proud to display it. And she, like I said, made this as a teenager, so this is well over 100 years old. So very proud of this. It is certainly an heirloom now that I have to pass down, and I think it's beautiful, and I love to look at it every day.